In this video, I'm going to walk you through creating a paperless medical record with AVImark. I'll be explaining the basics of each category as I go along, and we'll be utilizing the glossary feature. If you're not familiar with the glossary feature, you can always refer back to the website and watch another video on that. First, we're going to open up the medical condition record, which will bring us to this little window here. And then we're going to fill in the vital sections of the medical condition record. Weight, temperature, heart rate, respiration, CRT. Basically, it's your full TPR, body condition score. The other field is intentionally left blank and can be used at your discretion. You'll also notice that there is a pain scale, as well as an admitted by and post for field. These fields list doctors and staff members. Should you or your staff be performing a simple vaccination, injection, or weight check that does not require full soap, you can click here to minimize the record to show vitals only. Next, we're going to add a problem. Problems can potentially be considered part of your subjective. It will prompt you to add it to the patient's medical history, where you can choose either yes or no. If you choose yes, the problem will be added in green to the patient's medical history. Moving on to the subjective, with my glossary already set up, I can use my easy to remember code to bring up the subjective template that was created. And now I simply fill in the blanks. The subjective is good technician or assistant work to go over with the clients, possibly before the doctor's physical exam. This is also where spell check comes into handy. By hitting the F12 key, I can skip through each question to the position of the little up arrows that you see. You can think of this as the substitution for the tab key. And if you are not already aware, you can use the Control D to timestamp your entry with the date, the time, and the initials of the person currently logged into AVImark. So just make sure that you are the person who is currently logged in. There we go. In the objective field, I'm going to use the glossary code that I created for my doctor's physical exam. I'm using the doctor's initials for this glossary code since it is something that is easily remembered for their customized physical exam. Once the code is typed, I'm going to hold down the Shift button and hit the space bar to bring up the entry. Now the doctor just has a physical exam already typed out, and he or she will only need to edit the areas to fit the patient's physical exam. This is so much easier than typing this all out every single time. You will also notice down at the bottom there is a check all, uncheck all, and then you have multiple fields. Some of them say not examined, some of them are blank. If I was to hit the check all button, everything would be listed as normal, should you have just a plain physical normal exam. This is just another option that AVImark gives you so that you don't have to do as much typing. So let's move on to the assessment. The assessment field is where you're going to choose your diagnosis and rule-outs, or your differential diagnoses. This can be a simple right-click, choose your diagnosis, or choose your rule-out. and then type in what you're looking for. So this is my diagnosis, and you'll see it's kind of highlighted in a darker shade of purple, gray, whatever color. So now let's do a rule out. Foreign body sounds good. You'll see the foreign body is highlighted a little bit of a lighter color. You can also write a little more detailed list below. Let's move on to the plan. The plan is just how it sounds. Basically, what is your next step? Again, you can right-click to choose diagnostic or therapeutic options. So I've listed both a diagnostic and a therapeutic entry. Now if you wanted to say something about your diagnostic or your therapeutic entries, we can simply right-click and choose Notes, or hit your F5 or your Function 5 key. And we're going to make a little notation here. And we're just going to kind of write up what we did with this dog. Now there is another little box underneath this field, just like in the previous categories, your subjective and your objective. There's always another place where you can write a little bit more detailed if you don't want to use your right-click options. We're going to go ahead and put it in here. Again, spell check is so handy when it recognizes the word. Let's just make a little note about our bandage. Now here's the area if you really wanted to put some other details in there that you could. Client instructions. Now this is going to be something that's not going to show up on your patient record. This is just kind of a staff area, or doctor to staff area that we can write little notes about, maybe what we spoke with the client about, or a potential future plan if things don't go well. This isn't going to show up on the patient report, so just be aware anything that you put in here is not going to be public. This is a good area to put future plans in, such as, if wound doesn't resolve, please have client schedule an x-ray. Stuff like that. If you took pictures in your practice of this particular wound, you could use the attachments underneath to attach pictures. It's always handy. And I think this is pretty much done. Let's take a look at it and see what we've done here. By hitting the preview button. Okay, so let's scroll up here. So this is our medical condition record. It's got all the patient's information up top, our vitals, and then it goes down basically how we did things in order: our subjective, our objective, our assessment. and our plan. And you notice that that information that we put in the client instructions did not show up there. So that's it. We're done. We got through our first medical condition record, paperless style, and hopefully it was as easy for you as it was for me. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or check out the website.